back to this little visualization here. Now, if you've ever seen where Epicor did this line, like an annual recording of the same longitudinal readings of the azimuth and the declination of the sun, and then they mapped it out.
Just kidding. Granted, Epicor hasn't been active in a while, but that's because of all this nonsense that's been going on. But yeah, you're right. And that was an outstanding presentation. I think that would be a really good thing to kind of go over again one of these days and have Steve Torrance on, because I think they nailed it.
Yeah, and it's very fascinating. For those who don't know, hopefully I'll get the link or we can drop it in the chat. But it's like a magnetic flat Earth or something like that. And so it actually, the computer renders a toroid, a pulsating toroid, and so this visualization can maybe help you out. See, the sun is just a byproduct of this. Okay, and then we have a central source, and we have electromagnetic field in the Earth, and so it has to have a central source. There is no actual alternative. Now, where it is, I don't know, but I'm saying there has to be one. Like, based on everything that we know about magnetism, there has to be some actual concentration of dielectricity. So I think this visualization is pretty cool. You live in the inertial plane. In this scenario, you live in the inertial plane cut right through the middle of this toroid. And if you look at the top left, you'll start to see this like conjugate representation of the lines coming out, which we see in the black sun representation. So to bring it back to this, it appears that the ether has a drift, effectively like a tornado. This would explain the analemma, so the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, where the sun during, again, it's like, seems to be magnetic holography. It's not a physical actual location, but it seems to be over the north higher up, right? As in like the convergence area that gives you the hologram is higher in the sky. The angle intersects higher in the sky, and then it moves around at certain speeds. So if you have a tornado, it gets faster as you get to the bottom of it, right? So as you get higher, it gets slower. So it's higher in the air, so it's going slower. It's higher within that vortex or that tornado, if you will, although somewhat crude, of the ether. And so it's moving around. And then that's our summer. Now the south gets their summer, the sun seems to move out. We can look at this optically and observe it, right? We can observe this analemma, and it gets wider out at the bottom. Well, it would be good if it was to decline and get lower, meaning that the hologram is projected at an intersection lower. The angle intersects with what seems to be from the area of Polaris. It intersects and gives you the hologram that we call the sun. And it's lower in the sky, so therefore that is lower in the vortex, so it moves faster, just like a tornado. And that's where we get the analemma. And this is why it's so frustrating that we have flat earthers attacking the idea, because it starts to create a framework that explains a lot of things, where we do have some type of effect or phenomena of precession with the gyro, the Sagnac effect, which he said was a vortex of the ether. We do have some type of effect with pendulums. And just like Einstein himself said, which I covered a few weeks ago, that if the system from the outside were to move, it would translate motion to the inside, and then you would get centrifugal and Coriolis effects. The only difference is they'd be actual as opposed to fictitious if the Earth is moving. And so it does seem that we have this huge system moving around us, central to the center, which projects all that we perceive above us. And yeah, so I think that this is a good logical framework. If we can kind of boil this down and iron out any kinks, this would really be a good step for us to come together, and then we'd be able to actually progress into understanding physics and energy. And so in conclusion, yeah, I think the way that I see it, that little white line through the middle is the inertial plane. That's effectively the null pressure point, where there is the least amount of pressure. Everything comes down to pressure mediation. That's where you live. That's the only place that can sustain life, which even Ken Willow will tell you that. And then if you were to look top down, that's the top right, where you have this thing that's clearly been hidden from us, and this thing would be elite no, and would be impenetratable to matter, meaning matter, it would not be materially accessible. And yeah, there you go. That's my presentation.
Yeah, very cool. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.